is life progress. Join us in this beautiful expression of life progress impacting humanity worldwide.
Hello from Ontario, Canada, and thank you for celebrating with us on this first Reconnective Healing Global Awareness Day. My name is Donna Costa, and I'm happy to share my story with you today. By now, you've probably heard other speakers, and you understand that Reconnective Healing facilitates a return to an optimal state of balance, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And when we have balance, we have true health. Now, most people understand what physical healing is and probably even mental emotional healing. But spiritual healing? What does that mean? This is what I would like to talk to you about today. So obviously we exist here in this earth plane. This is our physical reality, what is also called our local reality. But there's more to us than just this. There's also our non-local reality. So let me explain. Imagine an iceberg, the largest mountain of ice that you can picture floating on the ocean. And what you see on the water is only 10% of the iceberg. The other 90% is underwater. We don't see it, but it is there. So we have this, our local reality, and we have our non-local reality, the part we can't see, just like the 90% of that iceberg. We don't always recognize that other part of ourselves. But through Reconnective Healing, we open to the wholeness of ourselves, including the non-local. Opening to non-local is opening to our consciousness, to our higher self. And this opening, this awareness of our wholeness, this is spiritual healing. And as we become aware of our wholeness, we also become aware of being part of a vast energy or beingness, what you might call source or God, goddess. Some call the 0 point field, the prime creator, or even universal intelligence, because there are many, many names for this vast beingness. So we open to awareness and we have spiritual healing. But you might be thinking, so what? How does that benefit me? And how does that change my life, my local reality? So I want to share with you my personal story. My first experience of this state of awareness occurred one very ordinary day in my kitchen shortly after I had sessions of Reconnective Healing. My grandsons were living with my husband and me at the time, and the youngest one was 6 years old, and he was collecting seeds for school, part of an exercise in learning to count to 100. And he had collected maybe 10 seeds from his breakfast, oranges and grapefruits, and we would put these seeds in a little saucer, and we would keep it on the kitchen counter. So this particular morning, as I was making breakfast, I looked down into the sink, and there was this saucer. And I reached in and grabbed the saucer, and there were these seeds floating in water. And at that precise moment, my husband walked into the kitchen, saw me with this saucer in my hand, just like the fox in the hen house, and he said, rather loudly, "Why did you put water on those seeds?" And feeling unjustly accused, I answered back rather loudly, "I didn't, I just found it there." Now at that time, my husband and I had been married probably about 35 years. And when you're together that long, you get really good at pushing each other's buttons and at having what I call these circle arguments, where each one says, "I'm right and you're wrong." Well, about halfway through this particular argument, I realized that I had been the one to put the saucer in the sink. because I had a visual flashback of tidying up the kitchen the previous night before bed. You know, I'm wiping down the counter, I'm putting the dirty dishes in the sink, and oh yeah, I put the saucer in the sink as well. But I wouldn't admit it, because I had a position to defend of being right, and I wouldn't admit what I had done. I could very easily have said, oh yeah, I just remembered, yeah, I did do that. And it would have ended the argument right there. And it wasn't even a big deal that these seeds got wet, because they're just seeds, they dry off. And yet I wouldn't admit what I had done, and I wouldn't back down. Now eventually my husband got tired of the argument and he left the room. And as I was standing alone in my kitchen, I experienced one of those moments where time stops. I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments, but it really is kind of like what's in the movies, where everything in the periphery fades out of your awareness, and you stop hearing the sounds in the room, and there's just you in this complete silence, complete stillness. And out of that silence, I heard a voice that said, "You are such a liar." And there it was, this naked truth. And I stood there repeating that to myself. I am a liar. I am a liar. Truly, I am a liar. And here was this opportunity to see truth about myself. And in that moment in my kitchen, I learned to embrace myself as a liar. No judgment, just acceptance. Now, I wonder if you were ever called a liar as a kid. Maybe you remember being taunted with, "Liar, liar, pants on fire, hanging from the telephone wire." And perhaps you also remember a pile of shame that accompanied that. But in my kitchen, in that moment, there was no shame, just awareness, acceptance, and love. Because we are connected or reconnected to consciousness, to spirit, to love. And we can view ourselves through a love filter. Because this love comes from higher consciousness, it comes from spirit. So there was no shame. Simply opportunity to see the truth about myself and to love all aspects of myself. So in these moments of awareness, we have a choice. How do we want to proceed? Is there an underlying belief that needs to be examined, perhaps to be changed? Is there a recurring pattern of behavior? Do we want to continue behaving in that way? Or is there a different way? So once aware of a pattern, we may choose to change our actions or not. We might change right away, but sometimes it takes time to change. We may need to have awareness come up again and again before we are ready to change. Sometimes this awareness is simply about becoming aware of our feelings, naming them, giving them expression. So what started as an ordinary day in my kitchen became a profound moment. And many times since, I have words that pop up into my awareness, like those thought bubbles that you see in a comic strip. Jealousy, criticism, fear. And there's no judgment, no shame, just acceptance. And this opportunity for personal evolution. You can see yourself as both perfection and as a work in progress. So that's my awareness story. And thank you again for joining us on Reconnective Healing Global Awareness Day.